Okay. So I will call to order the Architectural Board of Review for December 13th, 2021, and start with our roll call, please.
All right, thank you, board members. This is Mary. I'll go ahead and take the roll call. I'll start with Chair Moore.
Here.
Vice Chair Six.
Here.
Board Member Anderson.
Here.
Board Member Black.
Here.
Board Member Noon.
Here.
Board Member Olson.
Here.
And Board Member Whalen.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. We'll move on to general business and public comment. Any member of the public may address the board for up to 2 minutes on any subject within our jurisdiction that is not on today's agenda. So you can follow the instructions on screen, which will alert staff that you would like to make a comment.
Yes, thank you, board members. I'll be going over public comment today since Will Russell's managing the plans. So at this time, there are several members of the public in attendance. If you would like to speak on general public comment, please click the raise your hand icon and I will call on you. So at this time, I don't see any hands raised and we did not receive any general written correspondence. So I'll turn it over back to you, Chair Moore.
All right, thank you. We'll close public comment. Go on to approval of the minutes from November 29th. We can have those up. There we go. I will make a motion to accept the minutes as presented, seconded by Mr. Olson. Any discussion? None? Okay, let's take a vote.
All right, I'll start with Chair Moore.
Yes.
Vice Chair Six.
Yes.
Board Member Anderson.
Yes.
Board Member Black.
Yes.
Board Member Noon.
Abstain.
Board Member Olson.
Yes.
And Board Member Whalen.
Yes.
All right, the motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And moving on to the consent calendar for the 13th, which was today. If we could have that up. We can take a quick scan through. Or if it's better, we can read that into the record if it's better.
I think
Mr.
that's
Hamilton.
what we typically do, correct, Chair Moore? I would read. Okay. So today we heard 2 items on consent. The first item was a continued item for 37 West Calle Rurales. This project received project design and final approval with comments. Just minor screening comments. Item 2 was a new item, 523 Anacapa Street. This was a minor proposal for a transformer and a trash enclosure in the rear. And this was continued indefinitely to consent with some comments regarding the planter location, trees, and the metal gate detailing. So that was it. Thank you.
Right.
I move we accept the minutes as presented.
Excellent.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Olson. Any discussion? No? Okay, let's take our vote.
All right, thank you. I'll start with Chair Moore.
Yes.
Vice Chair Six.
Yes.
Board Member Anderson.
Yes.
Board Member Black.
Yes.
Board Member Noon.
Yes.
Board Member Olson.
Yes.
And Board Member Whalen.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, any announcements, continuance, withdrawals, future agenda items, or appeals, please?
I have one announcement. I think is the appropriate time. So I have a conflict with item number 1. I'll be abstaining from that one.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Chair Moore,
Yes.
I do have an announcement as well. This is Irma Unzueta. I just wanted to come to your meeting this afternoon. Usually I'm in the background, but today I wanted to personally say goodbye. This is my last meeting with the ABR. As you know, I'll retire at the end of the week. So I wanted to just thank you for your service and also to tell you that it's been a pleasure and an honor serving you as staff to your board.
Oh, thank you very much, and congratulations on your retirement, and best wishes.
Yes.
Thank you, and I hope that our paths cross somewhere in the future.
All right. Okay.
Thank you, Irma.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You.
All right. Any other announcement from staff or anything? No. Okay. Any subcommittee reports? No. Okay. Well, if we're ready, we can move on to our first item, which is 2407 Bath Street. It's here for final approval. This is a proposal for a new 2-story, approximately 28,000 net square foot. Let me try and get still experimenting with where to put the camera stuff, all the views and everything. There we go. Okay. All right, so this is a proposal for a new 2-story, approximately 28,000 net square foot pediatric medical office building with a 2-level, 45,000 square foot subterranean parking garage. The project proposes to merge 2403 Bath Street, 2407 Bath Street, 310 East Junipero, and 314 East Junipero Street properties. All existing buildings and site development will be demolished. 3 oak trees are proposed to remain and will be incorporated into the new landscape plan. Final approval is requested. We last saw this September 20th. Project requires substantial conformance to the plans that received project design approval on February 22nd, 2021. Project requires compliance with Planning Commission Resolution number 001-21. Is there anything else? No? Okay. Can we just, maybe staff can just let us know what the Planning Commission Resolution number is? What is, if there's any detail that we should be aware of?
Hello, Chair Moore and board members. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I'm Tony Bauman. I'm the planner assigned to this. I guess the only thing I would call to the board's attention are some planning commission conditions of approval regarding design review. And these are just the typical planning commission conditions. There's nothing that particular for this project, but it's tree protection measures are supposed to be reproduced on the grading plan. I don't know if there's anything the board needs to look at there. Location of dry utilities shall be placed on private property unless deemed infeasible. And if they're in the right of way, they shall be painted Malaga green and shall be screened as approved by the ABR. Screen backflow device, same thing. The ABR should just review screening for backflow devices, and a condition to have a trash enclosure that's adequately screened. Otherwise, I don't really have anything to call to the board's attention, but I'll stand by if anybody has questions.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, if we could have our motion from the last round, I think that'd be helpful. Okay. Applicant shall continue to provide refined moldings, reflecting moldings at the bottom of the second story windows, study providing further moldings under the eaves to help reduce the increase in height between the second floor header and eave. An even stronger molding statement at the entry roof should be provided with an introduction of additional molding under the eave. The height increase of 18 inches is acceptable. Study introducing a serendipity balcony at the south elevation amongst the repeating windows on that elevation. We studied the entry, fenestration, and doors, study providing more height, study adding a header to visually support the windows above and perhaps provide more refined door type than the one light rail door. Look forward to seeing solution to the lighting on the interior descending drive. Confirm relationship between parapet and roof equipment as requested in the comments from the last meeting. Show proposed materials for trash enclosure gates and exterior. Show detailing of the railings and other site accessories. Okay. All right, if we have our applicant, they can take us. Great.
Chair, thank
Welcome
you.
back.
Thank you so much.
And if you could take us through your updates.
Okay, we submitted, along with the full set, we submitted a set that has the comparison elevations in it. I don't know, Mr. Russell, if you have that. It's sheet A20, A21, A22, and A23 is what I'm looking for. And this again is the full set, but we should have had a supplemental set that I thought would help the board.
Let me take a moment.
Before, after.
Sure. Let me take a moment and get that supplemental set pulled up. 1 second. And while I'm doing that, would you possibly know the PDF page that it would be correlated to as well?
No,
Okay.
I unfortunately don't. Any luck?
This was named elevation comparison.
Yes, that's
Okay.
it. Thank you.
I'm just downloading it now. 1 second. My apologies.
There it is. That's it. Good job. So this is can you all hear me?
Mm-hmm.
So we are looking here at the Bath Street elevation. So really the only, and it's a little hard because we're showing the shadows, but if we zoom in on the lower elevation there right above the colors, we can see that we added the band around the majority of the building. We have a different band expanded at the entry, but you can just see that band as a light line above there. You can also see we removed a window, which is the result of the stairway, an open stair that went in that location. And in some ways, I think that kind of helped the elevation, and there's a nice planting that's in that corner, which we can look at when we look at the landscape plan. As long as we have this blown up, we can see the basic materials: copper gutter downspouts and leader heads. The building is pretty simple color-wise. It is white with basically black windows, and these are the Arcadia, steel-looking windows that will be basically the black color inside and out. The wood will be the dark that you see, and the sandstone, obviously, and then this will be the typical light fixture that we use throughout, which is primarily, as far as exterior light fixtures, it's here at the entrance. We have those two flanking fixtures, and then the same fixture will be used back at the ramp going down to the parking structure. So let's go to the next sheet, which is A21. And I hope that this will please Mr. Six. I think this is a vast improvement over what we had. So you can see that since we had already begun to introduce these little Juliet balcony elements, and also we had a round window that we had incorporated, it made a lot of sense to bring that vernacular around to this side. And I think it was a really good suggestion and vastly improved this fairly plain, I'll say elegant, but nevertheless plain elevation along Junipero. Next sheet is A22. This is the alley side. Not a lot of change on this elevation, just a little bit more refinement, including adding that band and whatnot. And we can't see the light fixture in this particular vantage point, but the light fixture that was of concern, well, actually you can see it there. It's very light in the previous elevation. It looks like it kind of got grayed out, but there is a light fixture that's basically over the top of the opening into the parking structure. So it's just right there in the center, right there. And that would be that same fixture that I mentioned before. So not a lot of change on this elevation. And then the final sheet, A23, likewise, not a lot of change on this elevation from what you saw before, other than that, a little bit of extra banding. So those are the elevation changes. If we go back now to the main set, just to address the question of mechanical units, there you see the mechanical units on that roof plan that just happened to come up. Maybe we could go back to whatever that slide was. Sorry, again, I have to remember to give you the PDF numbers. That roof plan is, there you go. So here you can see the units themselves. Oops, it jumped away on me again.
Sorry, Mr. Cornell. Those are the old in progress review plans, and just wanted to make sure that we're using the most up-to-date plans.
Oh, okay.
So let me see if I can find those.
Old guy here is still thumbing through a set of drawings. So Old habits die hard, don't they? Mr. Six.
Yes.
Pencil, paper. Yeah, so sheet A141, which is probably about 20 sheets in, there you go, is our roof plan. So there you can see the mechanical equipment. And if we can skip forward to A3, let's see, what is it, 302, I think. It'll give you a good sense of the size of those units. So there you see they're actually modeled. So they just peek over the top of the parapet, which really means that they'll never be visible from anywhere. So those are the mechanical units, and you can let me know if you want to see anything else on that. And as far as details are concerned, if we go to sheets, probably the first sheet would be A602. I think you looked at some of these before. You can see, for instance, there, number 18, our rake condition at the eave. Those two bottom details, 17 and 9, are really those. This is showing the added little half round, plaster half round. So at the tower, which is the detail on the left, you can see that it has a little bit more overhang and has a greater distance between that. So it's a subtle difference, but I think will still work relative to the eave. And I don't think we have it shown. We might want to make a note of this, but I had thought that we would also score a simple crosshatch pattern, a traditional crosshatch pattern in that section at the tower, but not at the remainder of the building. So that is that, and we could switch to the next sheet, A603, has some railing details on it. So this pertains, actually that's an interior. The one on the bottom there is the exterior stair railing, number 4. And then directly above it is the shroud detail. That is a copper shroud for those chimney elements that we have on the elevations. And then I believe, I don't see him on here, but I think Bob Cunningham was going to be here for the landscape plan. I think pending his arrival, maybe we ought to see what questions there are, and we can then get to answering any other issues that we have. So that concludes my presentation for now, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Grinnell,
Yes.
is Justin Manuel a part of your app?
Yes, Justin.
Let me
Thank
promote
you.
him.
Hey there, this is Justin.
Sorry, Justin.
That's all right. Bob couldn't make it, so I'm here in his place, but I'm here to answer any questions that come up for any landscape design.
Okay, it's probably best if we take a look at the landscape plan and refresh our memories.
So that's at the very back. LP1 is what we'd want to be looking for.
LP-1.
LP-1. Yeah, it should be third to the last sheet. You know how we always relegate those landscape architects to the back of the bus.
There we go. And this hasn't changed since the last time you've seen it.
So we have, obviously, very important part of this are the oak trees that are being preserved, primarily that one, the large one at the top of the screen. And then likewise, we have the street trees.
Yeah, I can
Go ahead.
just kind of give a broad. So the one large oak at the top of the screen, like he was saying, going out of our way to protect that. And then there's also an existing oak along Bath Street in the parkway there. So we're showing 4 circles there. The one with the double circle is the existing oak, and then the others are proposed. Yeah, exactly. That's one of them. And then the other one. So there's 3 proposed oaks along Bath, and then along Unic Row, we've got jacaranda down there. Proposed jacaranda. Yeah. And then all along the parkway, we've got just kind of we've got more low ground cover. As we get closer to the building, we kind of step it up with the taller Mediterranean planting, and then up against the building between window slots, we've added some height with some windmill palms and some lower cycads where appropriate.
Okay.
And then also in the corners on the north end on Bath, and then on the towards the left on Unic Row, we've got some firewall trees.
All right. If you could take us to the backflow device and show us
Yeah.
screening for that.
If you want to jump to the irrigation plan, which is LI-1. So on this plan in the bottom right corner at the intersection, there's a cluster of little letters down there, equipment. The BF is the backflow preventer, which is right in the corner. Yeah, right there. And so in relation, if you don't mind jumping back to the planting plan. Yeah, down at that same corner, we've got Bird of Paradise, and then also Diamondia, where that backflow is going to be. And the location there is mildly diagrammatic. So it'll be among those Bird of Paradise and Dianella there, but it's off the street a bit.
And this is, I don't think you mentioned it, Justin, but this is a large 72-inch box at the corner. Those red lines really indicate the raised planters because we're over the podium. So this is the one opportunity to be in the ground with a large specimen tree.
Yeah, so we're really punctuating that corner. We're punching up all the planting in that corner and really taking advantage of having some planting space. So we don't see the backflow preventer being the highlight of that corner at all.
Okay. And then if you could take us back to where the trash enclosure is and that area. And just describe that.
So that's back in the upper left-hand corner, Mr. Russell.
Let's see. So at the upper, we've got on the very corner, that SP is a Scilifera there, taking up that corner. And then to the right of that, a few more palms. And back over to the left, we've got, I think, some Bird of Paradise and the Tacoma stands. So we're trying to really get the planting sucked in around there, so it doesn't appear as though it's a trash enclosure.
Okay, thank you. If there isn't anything else to add, we can move on to questions.
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Actually, we have to do public comment first. So we'll open public comment for this item. You can follow the instructions on screen to make a comment.
Yes, thank you, Chair Moore and board members. If any member of the public would like to speak on this item, please click on the raise your hand icon at the bottom of the screen and I will call on you. So at this time, I don't see any raised hands, and we did not receive any written correspondence for this item. So I'll turn it over back to you, Chairman Moore.
Okay, thank you. We will close public comment, go on to questions from the boards. Who would like to start? Vice Chair Six, go ahead.
Yes, hi. Lovely project. Just a few errata. On A201, I'm sure it's my computer is slow. I'm not there yet.
Same here. It's lagging on my end. Hopefully it doesn't quit on us.
Well, I can ask some other questions. What, Mr. Canal, would be the material for the roll down gate at the parking lot entry drive? Do you have in mind any decorative nature to that, or utilitarian, and when would it be closed, or when would it be closed, etc.?
Yeah, operationally, I don't know the details of it other than it will be open during business hours and only closed for security later at night. And I believe that what we have spec'd, I'm a little bit of a hardship here because Mr. Nunn is the project architect and he's really the one in the know.
Yeah.
But it would be an open grate type of I wouldn't see doing anything very decorative. It's pretty far down there and back. So, but certainly something that would be an open kind of a screen to allow some light through.
You don't have a cut sheet on that or an image of that at this point?
I don't believe so.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
we'll have to provide that.
Okay. Yeah, I would be interested to see it at least dark bronze anodized instead of bright aluminum if it's possible.
Yeah, I was thinking that it would be, that it would be black to match our wrought iron.
Okay. We're not there yet. We're still on the landscape plan, but I was noticing that just curious whether you thought that all the wrought iron sizes, I mean, the balcony pickets are a 1/2 inch, as well as the window bars and the this scale of building. I looked at images of the courthouse and they don't seem to be very big, but I couldn't, are they another 3/4 square or are they only 1/2 inch?
Well, I'll tell you, we've been, having done wrought iron for a long time. I mean, it does seem like the more traditional wrought iron is a little more diminutive. So we have the 3/4 inch solid bars at the corners and then the 1/2 inch in between. And that really, I believe, is really the traditional size, regardless of the building scale,
That's all. If you looked at it and are good with it, I'm good with it.
Okay.
Then we were going to go to A201. Can we get there now?
Here we are.
Yeah, if we zoom in on the east elevation, is it just, what is that extra dotted line above the door and the entry? Is that it's roughly level with the gutters of the roofs on each side of the entry level. Is that yeah, right there. Is that just a quirk in the?
It sure appears to be a quirk in the
Okay.
model.
Okay.
Yeah, because that shouldn't be anything.
All right, then your to do our duty, where is your fire double check valve?
Vice Chair 6, we covered that.
Yeah,
did?
that was
Landscape.
the landscape. That's right.
Oh, that was the back. Okay,
Yeah,
backflow.
that
Okay,
was
I'm
the
sorry.
the backflow device.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, thank you. And again, 21 inches for your main entry light fixtures. You know, I think that might be a little small, but if I'll totally rely on you on that.
Yeah, it's a good point because I think that could be from the support bar down, and if so, I don't think it would hurt us to increase that size a little bit. So I think that's a good point, and we'll look at that.
Yeah, good. Other than that, I don't have any further questions.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else with questions?
No questions.
All right. Okay, well then let's move to comments, please. Who'd like to start?
Mr. Chair, I think this is very much ready for final approval as presented. I think it's a gorgeous building and commend the designer and the whole team on this project. I would ask that, and it would not have to be just under advisement, to see if the decorative wall sconces used the side of the front entry and above the back garage opening are should be, whether they should be larger or not, but not a condition of approval.
Okay.
Is that a motion, Mr. Six?
Yes.
I'd like to second it.
All right, second by Mr. Olson. And discussion, if any. Mr. Whalen, go ahead.
No discussion, but I would like to thank and congratulate the designers of both the building and the landscape for their patience, creativity, and responsiveness during this long process. I always thought this was a good project, and now I'd say it's a commendable one, and that the clients should be very, very proud of this. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would
Mr.
second
Whalen.
that motion also.
I would also I just want to say, as an applicant, I really do appreciate the comments you all have made, and it absolutely has made this a better building. And I think that we're all to be commended for our perseverance in that regard.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm in agreement. My only slight bit of negative comment would be if there's any possible other way to relocate that fire backflow device so it's not on the corner.
Here.
I think that would make the project even better. So if it can be relegated to side yard somewhere, so it's not so, doesn't become a feature
Yeah, and I have to tell you, Mr. Chair, I'm looking at the plans. I thought that we located it off the alley, which is clearly a more desirable thing. I think what Justin showed you was the
water backflow?
the irrigation backflow.
That's right.
And I'm pretty sure we have. I'm not finding it right now, but I will confirm that and make sure that because I don't want it on the corner either. I want it back off that alley where it's not going to be visible. So
You're here.
we'll confirm that, but I'm pretty sure that is where it is. If I could just find the damn thing.
Okay. Well, with that, let's take our vote. Please.
Could we have the motion read, please?
Sure. It sounds pretty short and sweet, but go ahead.
Yeah, I just have that the motion is for final approval with the comment with the condition of approval regarding the sconce and to relocate the fire backflow device so that it's not on the corner.
Mr. Six, wasn't there a third one?
No, I think that's, I think the size of the wall sconce was a suggestion, not a condition of.
Right.
Okay.
Then let's leave it off.
Okay, so we'll eliminate the size of the sconce
All right.
as a part of the motion.
Okay, so I just have final approval with the comment to relocate the fire backflow device.
Yes.
If it is located on the street corner.
If it's located on the street corner. Okay.
Approval from the second.
Okay, well, let's take our vote, please.
All right, thank you. I'll start with Chair Moore,
Yes.
Vice Chair Six,
Yes.
Board Member Anderson,
Yes.
Board Member Black,
Yes.
Board Member Olson,
Yes.
and Board Member Whalen.
Yes.
All right, the motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And with that, we can move on to item number 2, I believe. If we're not too far ahead in the schedule.
We're good.
We are good. Okay. Great. So item number 2 is 920 Summit Road. Project is here for project design approval and final approval. This is a proposal for improvements to the Montecito Club property, including alterations to the as-built sports courts located at the event lawn. Alterations include relocating the batting cage to the area between the golf cart building and the tennis courts, relocating the pickleball courts to the tennis courts, and removal of the as-built volleyball court. Previously proposed basketball court, children's sliding hill, and dry stack boulder retaining walls will be retained. Project includes a new practice putting green and associated landscaping, directional signage, benches, and hardscape. Planning Commission approved a conditional use permit amendment November 18th of 2021. Project design approval is requested, and this project requires compliance with the project compatibility findings. It was last year, October 18th. Okay, if we could have our motion up from the previous review. All right. So it was continued to PC with generally favorable comments. So design and aesthetics of the proposal are acceptable. Number 2, there should be a minor adjustment to soften the synthetic turf area in the northeast corner of the putting green adjacent to the planting area. And then we made preliminary project compatibility findings. So, all right. That was about it. Okay. Ms. Plummer, looks like you might have something to say before we get started.
Thank you, Chair Moore. And yes, I did have a couple staff comments. One just regarding the agenda, there's a slight oversight in the footer. The project is scheduled for project design approval and final approval, but just in the footer, it's only noting project design approval. There's just a slight oversight, but the applicant is requesting both project design approval and final approval at your discretion. And then, as you noted in the project description since the last meeting, this project did go forward to Planning Commission, and they did receive approval of a conditional use permit amendment for improvements at the event lawn, as well as the relocation of the pickleball courts to one of the tennis courts. There's no specific aesthetic conditions that were placed on the project. Really, as far as Planning Commission's review, they just had some comments regarding operational hours, but that's under their purview and not specific to aesthetics. And so if you have any questions throughout the meeting, I'll be here. Otherwise, I'll turn it over to Steve Walton from SEPS and Sam Mepis. Thank you.
Okay, welcome back. If you could walk us through any changes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you both.
Commission. Sam Mapis is here with me and Steve Welton from SEPS. As Pilar pointed out, you were about ready to take action, I think last time, but we had to go back to Planning Commission, and which we did and received approval. If you would turn to page 4 of the plan set, the only comment we got of substance last time was from Vice Chair Six, who suggested that we study the northeast corner of the lawn area to soften that. That's right, thank you. In the upper right-hand corner, that is the best area to focus in on. And I'll have Stan walk you through that. Other than that, there haven't been any changes to the plans that you last saw.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. That east corner next to the ramp that comes off the handicap parking spot, that's the area that we did take design heed to that good suggestion curve that matches obviously some of the more natural curvilinear patterns of this practice putting green. So the planter bed did expand, did open up. It doesn't align itself with the walkway or hardscape in a more stiff or straight way. It has a natural curve to the end of the retaining wall, stone retaining wall. And then we have some agave bilmoriana that in the middle for a little bit of height in that planter. And we have some white lantana ground cover and a little bit of Bougainvillea brasiliensis, a ground type Bougainvillea that match much of the other plantings on the terraces and throughout the entry to the. It really ties itself into the terrace of the two parking lots now. And it softens that corner as you arrive up that ramp on the northeast side. And then that red line shows you how the access comes up to the putting practice green, to the basketball court, and to the event lawn. So that is our ADA access origin. And we'll have some nice landscape area. That slope above is planted with very established acacia rhododendrons. It's very tall and does a good job of screening, I think, the majority of these event areas from the neighbors. We were hesitant and being respectful and not putting any other parking lot trees planter as it got a little larger because the trees are in the view corridor of the upper neighbors, and being respectful, didn't want to jeopardize any of their direct views across and over to the islands and the ocean over this event lawn. They really don't see it because it's tucked into that cut of about a 4-foot stone wall. So that's really the only change. Everything else is exactly the way you saw. Move the pickleball courts down to the existing tennis. The batting cage has now been approved by Landmarks. It's hidden behind the cart barn. Any of the activities that were a little noisy have been moved well away from the property line, and now it's a practice area and an enjoyment event lawn in a much softer presentation. So that's all we show you today. If there's any questions, certainly we're here to engage answers.
Great, Thank you. So if that is everything, we will open public comment for this item. Is anybody that would like to make a comment? You can follow the instructions on the screen and I will alert staff.
Yes, thank you, Chair Moore and board members. If any member of the public in attendance would like to speak on this item, please click the raise your hand icon at the bottom of the screen and I will call on you. At this time, I don't see any raised hands and we did not receive any written correspondence for this item. So I'll turn it over back to you, Chair Moore.
All right, thank you. We will close public comment and move on to questions. Does anybody have questions?
No questions, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Black, is that a question?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
Go ahead. Actually, Mr. Maphis, a couple things. I noticed when I look at your plant legend, there are some plants listed there. I don't see sizes. I don't see spacing on some of those.
I think most of those, yeah, most of those were trying to be, we were showing an actual plan. Many of these things were put in 5-gallon, 1-gallon size on the terraces, Mr. Black, and then I think we spacing on the land at 30 inches on center. That's up by label, and so that being kind of simple ground cover. The bougainvilleas are labeled as 5 gallons. So on the lead, you have a sizing. Most of things that we're planting were labeled by the actual planter bed that we did. Everything else is existing.
Okay, it's as built in.
Yeah, it's an as-built except for that center.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Pardon the interruption. Mr. Mavis, can we maybe just request that you turn off your webcam? We're getting some minor glitches in your audio. It's a little difficult to hear. That might help.
Okay. Sorry about that. Maybe it's unstable. Yeah.
Perfect.
So,
thank you.
Mr. Russell, can we zoom back in on that upper right corner with the landscape so we can just see what Sam is describing?
Yeah, it's the area just above the handicap spot. If you want to zoom in a little bit more even.
Yeah. So am I to understand that that's the only area of new planting then?
Correct.
That's correct. Yeah. Everything else is planted. The changes just in the putting surface. It's going to be a synthetic putting material that's going to be installed, but there's no other planting that will be changed other than that little, semicircular area right there, arrow that starts above the new handicap ramp label.
I understand. And then obviously everything is completely irrigated now.
Correct.
Yes, everything is on the master clock and irrigated by drip irrigation.
Okay, great. Thank you. No other questions.
You mentioned the putting surface is synthetic now. Was it not synthetic previously?
It's synthetic. It was last time it was synthetic, and that hasn't changed since the last time when we first proposed the putting green. We proposed it as synthetic. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Always proposed to be synthetic, and then it was synthetic around the pickleball court. It was to remain synthetic for sustainable water reasons.
I think Sam kind of phased out there a bit, but I think what he was saying is that the previous iteration did have a little bit of synthetic turf around the pickleball courts and also the sliding hill, which is just to the left of this, what you're seeing on the screen right now.
Okay, anybody else with questions?
No question.
No. Okay, let's go to comments, please.
I have no problem with the project.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's acceptable as shown here.
Okay. Mr. Black, do you want to make that motion for final approval?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion for final approval as submitted.
Okay, Ms. Plummer, you have something to add?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Since the request is for both project design approval and final approval, I just asked the motion maker to include the project compatibility findings in the motion and then just go through those verbally as how the project is meeting those findings.
Yeah, I should make the motion as project design approval and final approval.
Yes, thank you.
So compatibility findings, we find the project is consistent with design guidelines applicable to this location. The proposed design is compatible with the desirable architectural qualities and characteristics distinctive of Santa Barbara and are part of the neighborhood surrounding the project. Yes. Size, bulk, and scale probably doesn't apply here. Most of the items are landscape related. Sensitive to adjacent landmarks and historic resources, and sensitive to adjacent federal, state, and hang on a second here, and city landmarks. And sign of the project does in fact respond appropriately to establish scenic public vistas, and the project does include appropriate amount of open space and landscaping. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? And sorry, who's the seconder of the motion?
Second. I second it, Richard.
Okay, seconded by Vice Chair Six. Okay, if there's no other discussion, we can take our vote, please.
All right, thank you. I'll start with Chair Moore,
Yes.
Vice Chair Six,
Yes.
Board Member Anderson,
Yes.
Board Member Block,
Yes.
Board Member Noon,
Yes.
Board Member Olson,
Yes.
and Board Member Whalen.
Yes.
All right, the motion carries. Thank you.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Bye.
All right.
And we also need to announce the appeal process. There's a 10-day appeal period that you can engage in if you so wish and follow the instructions on the screen. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. We will adjourn our meeting for the 13th. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Record.